Welcome to Rebel Watch, an all-Star Wars podcast.
Hey, what are you trying to push on us?
Perhaps you think you're being treated unfairly?
Hey, Star Wars fans, welcome to Rebel Watch. I'm Ez, and this is Mike. How's it going today, brother?
It's actually Darth Malgus.
Wow. I knew he had some dark side in him, honestly.
Hello. Not the first time.
Well, no, we're not even going to. So, Darth Malgus, you doing okay today?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Feeling pretty thithy.
That's good.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I developed a list.
That's okay.
I don't know what happened.
The whole podcast on a lift for an hour.
Oh, that would be
Do you
terrible.
think we can get Tom and Fogel to do it too?
I think we could.
By the way, with Tom and Fogel back with the book club. I'll stop the lisp now. Fellas, how you doing?
Doing good.
Dilly.
Amen. Dilly to that. As we read Deceived.
We did. And we were deceived during the reading.
Because I heard it was a good book.
Same. Wow.
Dark.
Tough.
Why would you come out? Easy now. No dark side powers.
When we
on
cut that one up, that's
Rebel
going to
Watch.
actually be really awesome.
I know.
We should do that
We
more.
will.
I'll
We
put
will.
that in Trivia Trials.
But yeah, I mean, it was. There was something about it. It was not exactly what I expected. Who wrote this? Paul Kemp? Is it who wrote this?
That is correct.
I know he's great. I mean, it really wasn't. I don't know. Fogel has some choice words for this, which we'll let him share here in just a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, it was kind of like Revan was great.
It was
and this is also the beginning is really good.
Yes.
The beginning is fantastic. By the time you get to the end, I'm kind of like, okay, what happened?
That's what I told you guys. You guys had finished it, and I was like halfway through. I was like, man, it's pretty solid so far. And you're
Right.
like, really? And I regret that statement.
yeah,
Because I thought it was actually going to be better than Revan, how it started. But then it just became a snooze fest.
I know it really did. It did. So just get some initial thoughts here from these guys. Tom, what'd you think of the book? Initial thoughts?
Listen, there was a beginning and an end.
Amen. There was an end. Thank God.
That's true. Folks, thoughts?
Well, yeah.
Keep it PG-13
too.
Yeah, no.
PG-13.
PG-13. Jeez, who do you think I am?
I know.
No, beginning started off real good. A lot of action there.
Amen.
I kind of felt like the guy kind of wrote himself into several corners and kind of created some throwaway characters, and it didn't really turn out to be as good as I thought it was. But I mean, it was all right.
Yeah.
Was it
It's
too
all right
much
for what it
too
was.
soon? I felt like, don't you feel like it just jumped into? I feel like they could have built up the invasion a little more. Maybe that was just me.
I would go with just you.
Okay.
I mean, it was. I get your point. Is that there was a lot of action, a lot of juicy,
Not
real
enough
good
foreplay.
stuff. I mean, there was. Right.
You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
like to build up to a climax.
I get you. I don't know. And then when you got to the climax, it was like not as, like it just was. We'll get into it. We'll tell the story. We'll summarize it and get there. But yeah, okay. So I mean, there's a lot of good in this. So don't. We're not completely bashing the book. I mean, Malgus himself
that was awesome.
is epic.
Yeah.
Cool character.
Darth Malgus is something. So if you listen to the audiobook, we were listening to it earlier before we started, just to hear his voice again.
Oh, yes, Mark Thompson, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm. Yep.
Excellent.
There's a lot of them.
His voice for his Scourge voice was good too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
his Malgus voice was better though.
His Alina voice? Terrible.
You know what? I think it was
got
spot on.
annoyed.
All right.
I mean, wow. If the goal was to make me annoyed, he succeeded.
Nailed it.
He did.
I mean, I don't know, it's tough. But so let's talk just about the setup of this book, and then we'll kind of go through. We'll get everybody's big takeaways. But this, let's see when this takes place. We kind of doing this off the cuff. This is several hundred years after the end of Revan. Okay, so we've had the Sith Emperor has wanted to invade, right? He's wanted to strike against the Old Republic, and now he has. right? So he has. It's not, and this is not the initial when we read this book and they attack the Jedi Temple in Coruscant. It's actually during a time where the war has been going on for a while.
I don't remember if they actually say the amount of years, but I want to say it's like 4.
Is it okay?
I think.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
So yeah, timeline. This is 3653 BBY, Old Republic era. Anyways, at the start of this, it's a little bit confusing. You kind of have to play the game. You kind of have to play the game to kind of fill in a lot of this stuff. And so I've not really played it. I've just watched a lot of the what do you call those things?
Cinematics.
The gameplay footage and cinema. Yeah, exactly. The cutscenes. Yeah. So I've watched a lot of those and stuff to kind of help understand, where this book takes place and stuff. And they're in the midst of a peace treaty negotiation. Yeah. And that's happening on Alderaan. And we have a couple main characters. So we've talked about Malgus. We've got Aryn Leneer, okay, and her Jedi Master Zalo.
I can't say his last name, but yeah, Zalo.
Yeah.
Zalo.
I called her Alina earlier. Why? It's Aaron.
Yeah, Aryn. Yeah. Well,
Close,
that's
right. I mean, it starts with an A.
Yeah, close.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
You nailed it. Yeah. So, and then you've got Z-Man. You've got Z-Man in there. He is the
Which is really named Zirid.
Zirid. Yep.
Got to be honest. That's got to be, to me, that nickname just it's like like fingernails on a chalkboard.
Terrible.
Z-Man. It's the Z-Man.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just really bothered me for some reason.
Yeah. No,
You
he
gotta
calls
think about
himself
it like-
Z-Man. It's terrible.
Military. Wait, what's up, Z-Man? Or something like that. It's still
Call him Z
stupid.
or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's up, Big Z?
Or Zirid. I mean, it's not hard.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, right. They've really done a terrible job coming up with names. I think in this story so far, we had what was the made up name for the character in Revan that we hated.
I can't even remember his name.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Evanter or something. I don't remember.
Backwards. Revan backwards.
Oh,
And-
Avner.
Avner. Terrible. Avner. Z-Man. It's like a sixth grader's coming up with these names.
Yeah.
Who knows? They might have gotten their kids' advice. Hey, little Johnny. I mean, what should I name this guy? I mean, he's got like a Z in it.
Z-Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And Avner.
So let's. Just the setup on this, where we're kind of at. There's peace happening, but there's an attack on Coruscant at the same time. The Sith are really deceiving everyone, making this play for peace, but they want a bargaining chip, and that's basically to hold Coruscant. So just your biggest takeaway. We can jump all the way around here, but Tom, like one of the biggest things that you thought was the coolest thing, or something that really struck you, a talking point, something.
I mean, the best part of the entire book is the attack on the Jedi Temple.
Amen.
And part of it does have to do with the cinematic cutscene from Old Republic. It is awesome. Watch it.
See, I didn't even make that connection until I had finished that part of the book, and you guys mentioned it, and it makes it that much more epic. Just reading it alone, though, I still thought it was great.
Oh,
not
it was
even
awesome.
making that connection.
Yes. Malgus, and they even go into a little bit of his story, which, again, is another cutscene from Old Republic of where the attack on Alderaan. So that was so well written.
Yeah.
And again, Mark Thompson just nails the voices. It makes you feel like you're there.
Oh yeah.
That was the climax, right? I thought that should have been the last third of the book.
It was literally a roller coaster where
Yeah.
you go and then you shoot down and then all the little bumps afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
It's nothing,
Yeah.
nothing as big as the first one.
Yeah, that's kind of that's kind of how I felt too. It was like you had that first just initial going down, and then you thought it was going to rise, you thought things were going to happen, and then we just I don't know.
They tried.
Yeah.
There was some trying with Aryn and like Malgus's battles. They're two separate battles and so forth. And I mean, the guy can write like a lightsaber battle pretty well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like his descriptiveness
that's true.
Yeah.
in the swordplay was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, when you start off with the money shot right in the beginning, it's kind of hard to top that. And I mean, I don't know, like Zedrid and Aryn just seem like throwaway characters towards the end of the book.
Yeah.
So
this is more
I
about
stopped caring about them at a certain point.
right. This is actually more. I mean, the main character. What we kind of need to remember is Malgus.
Absolutely.
It's actually not Aryn Leneer. It's not Z-Man, and it took me a second to kind of get in that mindset because I'm not a dark side user, Mike. Okay,
Well.
excuse me. Oh, jeez. We got force jokes going on here, by the way. If you're listening on the podcast, a lot of force joking happening, and but anyways, so he's the main character, and it's sort of like his lover. Is it Elena or?
That's what I was thinking of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it? It's Eleena.
Alina.
Alina. Yeah. His Twi'lek lover, and kind of like slave.
Yes.
but not necessarily a slave to him.
Yes, but you need to remember in the Revan, they say that all the slaves that they brought back from the invasion that were non-human and stuff were always going to be slaves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you saw a Twi'lek, it was a slave.
Right.
I mean, did they have a descriptiveness to what she was wearing? I thought.
Or wasn't wearing.
For that.
Do we need to go into that, or is that?
Did I miss that?
I mean,
part?
I don't remember a dancing slave outfit for her, but
She did have that, violet, like purple skin,
Right.
didn't
Yes.
she? So, yeah. I mean, Malgus, has a, I don't know, fiery rush every time he
does.
he sees her
Absolutely.
and stuff.
I mean, not to jump too far ahead or take control here, but it says later on how he killed her previous master after he saw her being abused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. She actually ends up being sort of his conscious too, and you get this sort of, he loves her. I mean, absolutely does love her. And in this opening fight sequence where he's fighting Master Zalo, she is actually a liability to him.
Yeah. She goes down.
Right. She goes down, and it's Darth Angrel. Is that his name?
No, it's not the one, is it?
Which one
It's
is
the
it?
other one.
The other one that we can't seem to remember his name.
Let's see. But what he learns from Darth Angrel brings much contempt. Let me see here.
Angrel is his master,
Yeah,
so to
he's-
speak.
Yeah,
he's
but
like-
it's just a little bit higher.
He's
what you're
higher
talking
up,
about.
but then the other one that was like in the battle with him.
Yeah, who was the guy that was in the battle with him?
That's a really good question.
Can't remember.
When you look him up,
They both their names are super similar. It's Angrel and Agras.
there it is. Nailed it.
Leave it to me, guys. Jesus criminy. I mean,
Hey,
four people read the book.
Like,
Good dilly dilly. All right. Man, Agras or something like that. Agras or grass.
that wasn't
Agras.
even close.
And that is, I'm pretty sure. I'm just making stuff up.
Confidence.
I'm
here.
just making some stuff up.
No, it's a grass. You're right.
Yeah. And so he is basically kind of turns him into Darth Angrel, right? And kind of says that he
Yeah,
didn't.
this happened.
Yeah.
Right.
This battle was supposed to be like Malgus's big triumph, and when he finally goes before Angrel, he kind of realizes the politicking, because Angrel and Agras they're more like politicians in a way, and Malgus is not.
Yeah.
So they outmaneuvered him in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, his goal all along was to
Burn the
destroy
Republic.
it, burn
Yeah.
it. Said
Wanna
he has a
sit here and watch
vision.
it burn.
Yeah.
So I mean, when Coruscant's not burnt to the ground, he felt betrayed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know how to spell his name. I'm trying to look at
That's okay. We have the old Republic grass.
that's not what we want.
Not close.
Trying to find I would want
There'll
more
be a
information on
comment.
That wasn't his name.
You guys suck. you even read
Thought
the
it was
book?
a serious Star Wars podcast.
We're not.
Yeah,
We're not.
That's all right.
No. We are.
We are.
We really are.
Dang it.
All right, where do we go next, guys? So we're, we've got
That's
basically
the end.
that's the end of it.
That's the book.
Is that the
right?
book? Okay.
Oh, there's more to it than that.
So yeah, there's the little fight scene there, and he's exposed. I mean, Malgus actually kills Zalo, and that's sort of a big,
which is because
that's where we bring Aryn Leneer into the conversation. And Aryn is actually on Alderaan doing the peace treaty, etc. So, she's senses it in the Force. I think it talks about how she was like her
she's
Force
an
abilities.
empath.
Yep, being an empath.
Empathic Force user.
Right.
Tell that
Because no
means.
one else, all of her superiors, the masters, didn't sense it
Right.
at all. They didn't sense anything going on. They're on Alderaan, right, with these treaty or discussions, whatever you want to call them, negotiations, and they feel nothing. She says something bad's going to happen, and they're
Yeah.
like, "What are you talking about?" and they just kind of trust her that something bad's going to happen. And when they find out it does, they're like, how did you know? How are they not sensing anything? That's my question. Like,
Well, this was her. I think it was. Yeah, I mean, there
because
are
it's her master?
there are other Jedi there that maybe they could have been connected to, but yeah, it's the fact they talk about the relationship she has with her master is basically father daughter like.
Well,
you know.
she, I mean, kind of hints that maybe she thought it was a little bit more.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
Wait,
it-
more
it's-
than
I
father
thought
and
that-
daughter?
No, it really says that in the
does
book.
it does start to say that, but then it says that first, and then it says that before the father daughter relationship. So you think, well, what could it be?
Right.
But then you
simple,
learn.
Tom.
But then you learn that it could be that she feels that it's more of a father daughter relationship. Yeah. But
Who knows?
Feels
Tom's
very
writing
Game of Thrones.
We have a fan fiction writer over here.
Hey, this is Rebel Watch, not Bend the Knee.
Thank
Bend
you.
the- yeah,
Thank
bend
you.
the knee.
That's right.
Exactly. Wrong
Good
podcast. Wait, this
Lord.
isn't Bend the Knee?
No, thank God.
I was going to say this is my debut.
No, we.
Okay.
It's something.
Darn.
Yeah, we
Okay.
don't even want to go there, boys. No, so it is a drass.
Drass.
Guys, I'm telling
See,
you,
I'm telling you,
that
there's
kind
gonna
of
be a
stuff
comment down
irritates
there.
me, and that's why I'm like literally trying to lean on my other three
That's okay.
members of the book club. But
And
I'll go
now
figure
you
it out
don't need to do
myself.
that again.
I'll go figure it out myself. Okay.
Come on, man.
Trying to run a podcast and look up people, it's just ridiculous. People
should
wonder
write the
why I
characters
sweat on the
down.
podcast.
Yeah.
you
That's
know?
okay, man.
Well, to be honest, full disclosure here, Ez did do that last time, but some dilly got in the way before we started this one. Okay.
Amen. It did. Hello.
No, not really. I mean,
the
but
pants are off.
right, they are. So, Aryn Leneer senses that, and she kind of struggles with this whole bit about leaving to go face down her master's killer. So,
For the
Well,
rest of the book.
Sort of.
yeah,
She's kind of a bit more resolved than that. I don't know about her conflict as much as.
She's like, I'm going to kill him.
She seemed. I don't know. I mean, there's probably some conflict there, but she was pretty quick to jump ship.
I mean, she, with her being an empath, she felt that a little bit more keenly than probably a typical Jedi would.
yeah. So, but I mean, still, so she's right. So you're saying she's not struggling with it, but you're saying she just decided, boom, I'm going.
Well, I mean, she's
What are you trying to
probably
say?
got like an internal struggle about it, but it just seemed like she was pretty quick about to work through that. You know what I mean?
Like resolve
Oh.
of like, I'm going to make him hurt like that.
No. It's like I'm ready to go. Sort of did like.
Gotcha.
I don't know if because there's more in the book. Like I'm gonna hurt this guy. I don't think
Yeah.
that was necessarily the end goal at the beginning.
I don't know. I
But-
think it was face down. Well, I mean, at first it's just I want to figure out who the killer is, and then it's this idea that she does want vengeance. She calls it vengeance, or to avenge. She wants to avenge her master, and everyone's kind of like, "This is you're on the her master's told her to stay. They were like in the hotel area, kind of like, stick with us, you'll be fine." But she disobeys and goes up to find Z-Man. So, right? Okay. And
That's the book.
that's the book. Yeah.
And that's
That's pretty much it.
see you next
right?
week.
I mean, they find like Z-Man has his own thing going on, and that's I don't know. It was so familiar. He reminded me not so much of a little bit of Han Solo, but I'm like, oh, he has a Corellian Corellian freighter.
the
Are there
whole-
any other freighters?
Yeah,
in
the whole
galaxy?
maneuver of like attaching onto a
It
Star
was
Destroyer.
so
It's like,
similar.
oh, that's where Han learned that.
I
one.
know. I don't know. I
Now hold on a second. I cannot believe I've got to do this. All right, hold on. Because what they said in the book, was I the only one who read the book? Let's be honest here.
No, you-
What's
no,
going
I-
on?
Get
What's
outta
going on?
here.
Because what they said was that that was a tactic that had been out of use for
Centuries.
a millennia, maybe centuries.
Just centuries. Come
Just
on now,
centuries.
man.
Okay,
But
so
you
Tom
read the
did.
book.
That was a quiz. See that? That was a quiz.
Technology hasn't advanced in thousands of years in the Star Wars galaxy, so either do their maneuvers.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Listing lazily to the left, still a great maneuver.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, it
Right,
is.
it is. It is. Yes. So it's kind of neat that Z-Man uses that, and then was it used afterwards? Did people sit in hyperspace lanes like that again? Actually, what's his name? In Rebels, they kind of did this. Do you remember in the last when they were trying to get access to Ezra's home planet? Remember they bring what's his name back in there, and he waits in the hyperspace lane, and they attach themselves to that
Yeah, what's his name? Can't
to the ship.
remember it.
I don't. Holdo something. I don't know. It's not Holdo.
Whoa.
No, it starts with an
Holdor,
H
that's
though.
the wrong one, buddy.
You're not talking about the purple guy, are you?
No.
Just kidding. I have no idea who you're talking about. Man, we are so unprepared when the characters here.
Yeah.
But no, I know what you're saying.
Well, they weren't
It's
quite
just-
as memorable as
They
Revan
weren't.
either.
You're right. You're
I mean, I
right.
hate to say.
You're right. Not Callus, not the Inquisitor.
No, you guys go ahead. You guys go ahead. I'll find it. You know.
I don't know. It was just those moments. I get it. Like Z-Man was fine. Like, his story.
His epileptic wife dies in a car wreck that like takes his daughter's legs.
Yeah, and his whole
so
purpose
he's now, I'm not going to be a soldier anymore. I'm going to run weapons for
Yeah.
the exchange in order to get her a chair and then maybe prosthetic legs.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
And he's running
I get it.
Spice. I mean, this
Well,
book
he
came out.
eventually
runs Spice.
because he loses the, what was it, like a thing of grenades or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
He gets like ambushed on a normal deal and he kills
them
all.
all. Yeah.
The exchange I felt was kind of silly.
Yeah.
It's like, hey Z-Man, how'd it go? Well, I killed like 4 people and I might have lost some grenades. Oh, you killed 4 people?
Yeah.
You lost the grenades?
Yeah.
Well, you know what you're gonna do now? You're just gonna run some spice.
I
Okay?
owe you. You're either gonna do this for me or I'm gonna kill you. And he's just like, man, I guess I have no choice. It's a
Okay.
huge galaxy. Come on. But I don't know. It was okay. But the whole running Spice and things like that. This book came out in 2011 or 2012 or 2013 or something. Like this has been told. We've been talking about Spice Runners and
Yeah.
even just Han Solo alone. Like, give me something different.
Apparently, there's only so many jobs in the galaxy. You
Yeah,
can
you
be a
either
bounty hunter. You can run weapons. You
Yeah.
can
Right.
run spice. You can be in
Yeah.
the Imperial Legion. You
Or
can
be a Jedi.
you can- yeah,
That's it.
Well, maybe. I mean, you can join the rebellion, and then I guess the rest is just like moisture evaporation.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me some tax accountant or something, that gets caught up.
Oh, they're
in-
there.
or-
Believe me. They're
just-
there.
I don't know. I didn't really need that, but I mean, it was interesting, but. Oh, hello.
hey, there,
wow,
guys.
Wow.
Hey.
Somebody's not.
Somebody's connected.
Mute their phone.
Got the name for you, Hondo.
Okay.
Oh, the pirate.
Jesus
All you had to do was say
criminy.
pirate, and I would have.
Sweating over here now.
Give him a-
But yeah. So, anyways, my point with all of that, I'm going to go back a step now. Is that
Go for it.
Hondo brings up a really uses some of these old tactics, and it's kind of like for Han Solo to be. I think in the new Solo movie, we're going to kind of figure out how he learned a tactic like that hadn't been used in centuries.
Do you think Z-Man's going to be referenced in
No,
Solo?
I don't think so. But I mean,
Wagers? Any bets?
Maybe there's a holocron,
Holocron. It's like, wow, that's an interesting maneuver. What's that? The Fat Man? Oh, it's an exact. Millennium Falcon's an exact replica of it.
Oh goodness.
yeah.
Ridiculous.
All right. So where are we at in the story? So
So Aryn is now leaving Alderaan. She's going to go find Z-Man. Z-Man goes ahead and he's doing his little grenade deal, which goes south. So then he wants to return back to where his daughter is living with her aunt, right?
Yes.
right,
Some
her
relation
aunt,
there.
it's his sister-in-law,
Yeah,
right?
sister-in-law.
So. Yeah, and he gets there, and there's this, he's meeting up with her, and we talk about, I don't know if we talked about the history with his, between Z-Man and Aryn. We'll get into that here in a little bit, but
They fought together, right?
yeah, they fought together, and there's this, she understood that his wife, I believe, was killed in a car accident.
She had like an
Speeder
epileptic
accident.
seizure
Yeah,
or something.
it would be a speeder. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. Died in a crash.
yeah.
He was
So-
upset. Talked to her. She
Yeah.
was there.
Yeah, and so she understands that she knows where he's at actually, and so is able to go track him down. And anyways, when Z-Man gets back though, he's got this. He wants to do something because right before he gets back, he had to drop his. Well, he lost those grenades that you were talking about.
He
and
lost
kind
the
of,
grenades, and then they had contacted him about doing the spice run. So he negotiates out a deal. He winds up getting like 100,000 credits or
Down.
something.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
pay
Up
for
front,
the
yeah.
wheelchair.
front.
Yeah.
So he goes to the planet. He's all happy and skippy, and he buys her a floating hover chair or
Yep.
something.
Yep.
So he's all like, "Yeah, Dad of the Year. I might
Yeah.
not be here, but I got you a chair."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's her name? His
Daughter.
no, her aunt is kind of like, where'd you get this money from, etc.
She's skeptical.
She's skeptical, and he's decided to run Ang Spice, which is a spice that's highly addictive, and it's I think we actually heard it in the Thrawn novel too. Them talking about the different spices, and it's one that's just really potent and highly addictive, and
You're addicted to like one brand.
Yes.
Right. And at this point in time, the Malgus has attacked, on the HoloNet. Z-Man has heard that there's an attack on Coruscant, and he doesn't even get to the end of it before the Exchange hits him up and says, "Hey, we need you to, we need you to go to Coruscant. You're going to make up for this. You're going to make up for this lost cargo, and we're going to send you in there." And it's a deal basically. If he can get it done, he's out of the Exchange. He can take care of his daughter, and it's spice, something he doesn't want to run. So
Absolutely.
but now
An interesting conundrum. I'm more than happy to run weapons, guys, but
But Spice.
Spice,
right,
I don't think.
I don't know about
that's
that.
my red line.
right. Yeah, exactly. So then he comes across this guy while he's on his home planet there, meeting with his daughter, getting ready, getting prepped and things. He runs across a guy named he doesn't know his name exactly until later, but it's Vrath. Yeah, Vrath. He's a sniper for the Imperial. He was a former sniper for the Imperials, and
Got kicked out for being too violent.
yeah,
And his last name is Zizor, which is
Well,
the
that
name
was-
of a prince in a earlier.
That was his name now, though. They never
yeah.
actually have his real name. That's the
Gotcha.
name he assumes.
So not the prince from the former Shadows of the Empire.
I mean, it is
Sorry,
spelled
buddy.
it's the same.
That threw me off because I was like, Zizor, what? That's so not this era.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I
Yeah.
guess you can have multiple names.
Well, yeah. It's sort of a surname, I think. So
Yep.
yeah. So, anyways, he runs across this guy and is kind of suspicious of him. He says goodbye to his family. Got one more, job to do. And this is kind of a cool part where he's waiting, to sort of see. He saw this guy. Something, rubbed him wrong. He wanted to kind of make sure that his family was okay. So he sits in the stairwell for hours, just waiting to kind of see what was going to happen. And
and then just to cut, sorry, but I mean, Wrath's whole point there is he is working. Was he working for the Hutts?
The Hutts.
Yeah.
So basically, a rivaling spice merchant, and he wants to stop. His whole thing is specifically, it's so small scope. I need
Yeah.
to stop this deal
Yeah.
in order for us to be able to cut in and put our spice on the market here,
Yep.
and so on and so. Which comes up later when he finally meets Malgus and how small a scope this guy
It was
is.
so unnecessary. I don't know.
It's just another plot device.
The suspense of they built him up all being the shadow in the stairwell, watching this guy. He's gonna hold my family hostage, or he now knows I have a daughter. He was so just not important. I don't know.
yeah, it was kind of hard to follow because you've got this parallel structure, which is you've got Malgus and you've got Aryn Leneer, which are kind of fighting here, and then you've got Z-Man, versus this Varath guy, kind of on the same footing, same level, and I think, he seemed like he was going to be a lot more, and he is pretty epic. I mean, when he gets on the Imperial cruiser later and he takes out those guys, no problem and stuff. I mean, he does have a lot of skills, and he's a sniper, and he's good. He's
well trained.
Yeah, he's well trained. So, and he almost, it starts to seem like he might be better than Z-Man, but you don't really know much about Z-Man and everything that he can do, and so you kind of figure out he's a boss and he can hold his own, So, anyways, it ends up that he sees this person coming up the stairs or hears them, and then it ends up being Aryn Leneer.
He shoots at her.
Yeah. He shoots at her and basically, to kind of buzz through some of that. Actually, we don't have much to. You're right. There's not much left. I'm just kidding. But I mean,
Malgus gets put on a detail of the blockade, right? That's on Coruscant. So when
He sees as a punishment.
exactly,
Yeah.
and so that was that was pretty interesting. But the whole point when Z-Man and Aaron is that a very climactic time when they get together? They see each other again. They're like, oh, He just sees her, and
they reconnect, and she needs him, he needs her.
she needs a ride to Coruscant.
Right.
He's like, I'm going there.
I'm going
like,
there
right now.
The Force
what
is
a coincidence.
There are no cool
I am
forces.
going there too.
Let's go.
Yeah.
How could this be
The
possible?
Force.
Yep.
The
yep.
Force. That's
The
right.
Force.
That's right.
So they end up doing their thing. It's kind of neat how they smuggled the Aang spice onto his ship. I thought that was kind of cool how they did it in like
faulty droids or
droids.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was maintenance droids or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that was the exchange. The exchange, they had like some sort of like maintenance droids, but they were, I don't know.
Yeah. And so
We're talking about loading stuff in a ship right now.
That's
I know.
we're digging into this book. I mean, like the depths, the bottom of the barrel here.
I know, and that's kind of the point. Is that we're talking about these little tiny details. That's a cool detail, but it's like it's one of the bigger things that happens in the first third of the book. Is how they were getting on there, and
And the writer was reasonably good at like adding in detail. Like there was a part that I remembered about, like Xehanort going into his room on the ship, and it's like, it was all orderly, and here's this and that.
Oh yeah,
From his times of being a soldier.
Yeah,
and it
it's
doesn't
like,
really matter 'cause
maybe
no one
maybe
sees
I
it.
should wash my clothes or
Yeah.
something.
Well, and I read something in Pablo Hidalgo's sort of his guide to the making of this book, and they basically they handcuff these writers sometimes a little bit because they don't want to tell too much story because they're
point.
companions to the game.
It
So
ain't the 1990s anymore,
no,
boys.
and we're not bashing Paul Kemp here at all because it is the fight scenes are well written and there's a lot of little attention to detail.
Yeah, and the dialogue's not bad.
No, it's
No,
not.
I mean,
it
at
just
all.
needs to be.
It's just-
you need to turn that story. The final third needs to be the invasion of Coruscant. I think, in my opinion.
I mean, it sets
It sets the kind of
up everything.
Yeah.
And it's really about the struggle of Malgus and Aryn leaving, and essentially turning to the dark side and then trying to keep herself out. Way.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but anyways, I just wanted to put that aside in there because it's like we're kind of digging in on this book a little bit, and it's still got some really good pieces to it. So
I mean, personally, I think name change of Z-Man. Okay, for one,
Would do a lot for the book.
And
I kind of like Z-Man. I'll be honest with you.
I'm going to start calling you E-Man. Is that cool?
The character's fine. I think they could have developed him a little bit different. And it would have been so much better. Probably could have even had his own book.
I mean, but the scope of these books is like, what are these, like 300-page books, something like that? I mean, they're not meant to be like novels, I guess. So, but I agree. If they fleshed him out more, because he could be a really cool character.
You're right. He could. I saw his potential as being like a Rex character almost from like Clone Wars or something. Because there's a lot of history there with like Rex and the other cloners.
Well, I mean, he even alone, he still talks to himself out loud as if he's still a commando talking to all his, his platoon.
One of the biggest takeaways, though, I think for those that maybe read this book and have the same feeling as what you said, like about them being almost like kind of pigeonholed into a certain. This is one of the later books of the Old Republic. The game had came out already like 3 or 4 years prior. You have this Disney Lucasfilm transfer coming up. I mean, he may have had more in there, and they're like, you know what? We got another 2 books we got to do.
Yeah.
And there may be this potential selling later. We may do this again, so let's keep it kind of. I don't know.
It was more, and like I keep going back to it, was more to dive into Darth Malgus and sort of like it's really this I forget her name again, Elena or his slave, and it was more about like that relationship, which you got indirectly and directly, and just how the way Angrel, and those guys were kind of like getting on him. You need to get rid of her, demoting him, and it's not demoting him, but sort of like making him do the detail where he's sort of like. Orbiting Coruscant in a sense, and
Go for it. No, Thanks, Tom.
Amen. Amen.
that's a
Look at that.
No, I was just gonna say it's like if it's all about Malgus, which it is, you could have taken out Wrath and put more into Malgus.
Yeah.
And you know what? So again, in Pablo Hidalgo's companion book, they talk about they had Malgus like decapitating people. I mean, they did.
Let's go,
Like they
yeah.
literally came back to. I think it was either this writer. I'm not sure if they switched writers, but I'm pretty sure it was they kept the same guy. And the earlier drafts, like there was some dark stuff to Malgus.
Amen.
So it was. Yeah, you're right. I mean, like I just feel they kept some of that stuff out, and they had to throw in some of these other elements. and
Here's
things, but-
here's a talking point.
Yeah.
Come on.
Is Varath Canto Bite?
Wow. What is
Could
seriously?
take it out and wouldn't change anything, right?
my God.
I don't know, guys. When we talk about the Last
Cannot
Jedi
believe you
again,
just-
the Blu-ray release, I have some different. I don't know.
No,
I'm
no,
starting
no,
to like
I-
that movie more and more.
Yeah, I do.
And then I start to appreciate that scene a little more. Can't believe I'm saying it anyway.
I can't believe you said that.
I know.
I thought you were going to do a 180 on me there with Canto Bite, but
Well, I mean, I'm
glad that you're not.
I'm appreciating it.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
appreciating it more and more.
Okay.
What I'm appreciating about this character, Malgus, what was the name of the other Sith who had a
Angral?
similar struggle from Revan?
Scourge?
Scourge. I like that internal conflict because if you think of the movies and stuff, the only time we see a Sith having internal conflict is
Right.
Episode 6 with Vader.
Right.
That's literally it. I mean,
Well,
Sidious didn't have any conflict.
Anakin. In
Well,
episode
when he
3.
was a full Sith. Let's talk about when he was a
He's
Sith.
been- he was
I
a
mean,
Sith since
He was
episode
born a
3.
Sith.
There's actually a really great cartoon that Star Wars just released. I don't know if you saw it, but Kylo Ren is a little child in his uniform, and Luke is standing there with his arms crossed.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
He has
Yes.
a school presentation. and
Yes,
he's just
Star
like,
Wars.
We should have known this from the beginning or
Right.
whatever. And have these people I admire and
Right.
had Snoke,
Grandpa.
had Darth Vader. It was
Yeah.
so good.
That was good.
But yeah, I don't know. I like that. I like seeing this conflict. It's so awesome because I don't know any of this kind of Legends material, and seeing that these Sith are even having these struggles because there's really terrible Sith, and then there's kind of some really it's not so bad Sith. I like that a lot.
Okay, I think at this point, so we've gotten you through. I'm going to call this half of the book because
Yes.
we can get to. We honestly at any point in time can jump to the end because the middle of this book, you said there's a beginning and there's an end.
And
I
then
mean,
there's a middle.
right, and that. So let's just kind of. I think the heart and soul of this is actually what Malgus is struggling with in terms of the Sith Emperor and his decisions,
Yes.
and Angral and what those guys are deciding to do. He's like, why are we
Great point.
leaving? Why are we seeking peace? He is just a warrior. All he wants to do is war.
Yes.
He needs that conflict and aggression. I don't know, man. He really disagreed with what these guys were deciding, what the higher ups, I guess, were deciding to do, and I think that's where his story kind of takes off here after this. Is
Well, I mean, not.
Yeah.
You see it in Revan, and you see it here. It's all about the political
Yes.
in the Empire.
I love
you
it.
know, it was Scourge wanted to stop the Emperor. Well, the council was just trying to vie for power between themselves. They didn't really care. I mean,
Right.
they didn't want it to happen because then something might happen to them and their power would decrease.
Yeah.
yeah,
Angril's doing the exact same thing. It's all about. Well, I'm not.
Well, and
I'm not get-
Adras is just trying to, first Malgus is here, he's above him, and then Adras manipulates his way to be above him.
Yeah.
well, trying to.
He tries
Like,
to, but-
tries to take his spot, and
Right.
it's because he's buddies with
Adras.
higher up,
Uh-huh.
and it's
Angral,
it is,
thank you.
It is shows that it's that political maneuvering. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Malgus just his plan, his tactics.
Yeah.
He did it. He took Coruscant,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and took out the Jedi Temple.
Yeah.
You're gonna try to get rid of this guy with a little piece of crap, over here just
I
because
know.
he's your buddy.
Right.
I know.
Yeah.
He gets pissed about that. I mean, and one quick thing, I'm going to toss it to you guys for something else here, but like, he's relishing his victory. He even honors the Jedi. Like he loves
We're
the
not gonna
warriors.
bomb the
yeah.
temple and things like that.
Exactly. No, he wanted the bodies burned, and he wanted
Yeah.
them. Right? Didn't he want them burned?
They were gonna-
No, he was burning their own, and then it was just too many. So he's like, "Well, we're gonna demolish it and let the temple be their burial."
Oh, that's right.
yes.
But-
That's
and
right.
they're like, "Well, we're gonna send in a bomber." He's like, "No, they're Force users."
Yes, that's
Exactly.
right.
This is a
That's
Sith
right.
when
Yes.
The Sith,
are gonna
we
do
are the
this.
ones who
We're going to be the ones that take it.
We're not
down.
going to let
Yep.
some inferior imperial fighter.
I really like that.
I really like
Yeah.
that too, and it kind of shows Malgus's sort of like respect for the Force and other Force users. He and Zalo, like the respect, he was
awesome.
he wanted to fight the best.
He has a strange sense of honor And
Yes.
that even comes
Yeah.
into play at the very end of the book.
Yeah.
With Aryn as well.
Yeah.
But
You're right.
the other thing too with Malgus is he has a completely different understanding of the Force
Yeah.
than the rest of them do, and he believes he's truly living in it and living with it, and the will of what he's doing is the will of Force. The rest of them with their political maneuvering, it's just beneath him. So.
Yeah. Yeah,
another
here's
layer.
here's a line just from Wikipedia. Only through conflict can one's understanding of the Force be achieved, and Malgus
Yes.
firmly believed this. So only through
Yes.
conflict.
Oh yeah, he believed
And-
it should always
Exactly.
be conflict.
There should all, yeah, and they were seeking peace, and I think it just did not set with him. He didn't understand it, and he kind of decides. We'll get to the end here in a sec, but that what he needed to do at the end of this book and in the epilogue,
Yep.
just epic.
So what is that piece that they're trying to negotiate? What is the purpose? Am I missing something? Is it in the game? Is it later on?
I know it's just the control. So if you look at the galaxy, they had when they're in hiding in the unknown region and they come out and they strike in different places, they come out of. I mean, this is unexpected, and they are able to quickly kind of gain ground. And then the Old Republic is fighting back, and there's sort of this stalemate, and there's just a terrible war. People are losing lives on each side.
I mean, I didn't see it anywhere, but I
Yeah.
believe what the goal was, if the Emperor had anything to do with it, was I'm going to take control of some more planets and systems.
Yeah.
I'm going to rebuild my strength. And a few years down the road, I'm going to
Then
hit you
Coruscant.
again.
Hit you again.
And,
Gotcha.
and your Jedi are wiped out.
Well, and also the Jedi. I think the big move here is the Jedi have to move back to their ancestral homeworld.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the big deal, is to move them off of Coruscant, almost like they almost become disconnected with the Old Republic. Not
Yeah.
necessarily,
Yep.
but they kind of do. They.
Oh, absolutely. If you play the game, it's we're here and we go to them, not we're part of the central hub.
Yeah.
It's
That makes sense because some of the negotiations, when it actually came to fruition, was that they took over a couple of planets, right?
they took over
control.
some, yeah. And
yeah,
it was,
and then they would leave Coruscant to whatever or whatever.
yeah,
but,
and part of the negotiation was, from the Republic point of view, is there's billions on Coruscant, and
good
there's
point.
only millions on these planets. But
point.
those planets have the resources and people that the Empire needs in order to rebuild and gain the upper hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and like later on, just to kind of tie back into the game, I think it's like the hero of Tython. So they go back to the planet Tython, and that's where the Jedi sort of regroup and stuff. So, but we'll talk about that later in another video, and it kind of gets into the game a little bit, and you being the
Yes.
hero of Tython and things like that.
Yeah,
So
it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I haven't finished the game, but it's a
Let's
lot of fun.
well, it's
Yeah.
going to be recorded, so
yeah, and reported.
because I know Tom, you like to use some cheat codes.
That's right,
just
that's
like
right.
in Destiny.
Up, down, down, up.
That's right. That's right.
Every time.
That Titan's using a bunch of cheat codes. I tell you right now.
Yeah. So let's just get to the kind of the end here, I guess. Like sort of right before we'll set up the battle a little bit, and they've got to make through. Like Z-Man and Aryn have to get through this blockade, to Coruscant, and so they do the little maneuver that I talked about before, and it's cool. It works out to a
Not
degree.
really, because Wrath.
shows
Yeah.
up.
Uh-huh. Yep, and they end up chasing them off of the. I mean, it does work out until he shows up.
And their entry into Coruscant, I actually liked.
Yeah,
Did you?
That
Yeah.
was neat.
Yeah, I mean So how did go ahead and talk about that for a little bit then?
It was like they're trying to escape, and they're just rushing for the planet, trying to make sure that they don't get shot down.
They break out of a tractor beam.
Yes,
That was
that's
cool.
That was cool.
That was very cool.
It proves old Z-Man's
Yeah.
piloting skills are really good.
Yes.
Yep. And then, they're breaking apart on entry, and Aryn, they get shot out of the sky,
That's right.
and in the wreckage, Aryn uses the Force in order to make sure they don't die.
Yes.
and I mean,
very
like,
cool.
That was pretty cool.
It was,
Yeah, which
shows
is insane.
how
Yeah.
powerful she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a pretty. She's a boss because they believe that they're dead. You know, right?
Oh,
I mean, the readers of the, it's a direct hit. They couldn't be alive. The Imperials, Malgus though.
Malgus doesn't because
doesn't.
he didn't,
Didn't censor.
Could still feel her a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. So when they're down there on the ground now they've kind of crash landed, and since he can sort of sense that and feel that, I think how exactly did he know that it? Because the whole reason she wants to go to the Jedi Temple is so she can get the,
The security in order to find out who
it was, because she didn't know exactly who it was that killed her master. So she's doing that, and then they actually are tipped off. So I don't know if it was. Yeah, it was actually right as they're escaping. Angrel is calling him, telling him what the Jedi had basically had given up Aryn Leneer. They had given her.
Yes,
that
she was not to be associated with the rest of the Jedi. So
Yeah,
her actions
are
would
not
jeopardize.
Well,
the
you
peace.
knew that because when she left Alderaan, she took off her robes and just let them lay there.
Right, but I think yeah.
Explicit, Tom.
But the point is, though, she has a lightsaber. She's a Force user. The Sith could say, "Oh, looky there, see that? The Jedi are breaking the peace."
Good call.
And so they were like letting him know she's rogue.
Yep.
She is.
That was a big part.
It was because that's how they got the information to say there's a Jedi coming your way, and Malgus is like, "I'm on it. I'm already
And he thought
right
that
here."
would invigorate the war or the fighting, right?
Yes. Mhm.
So that was a huge part.
I
Can't
will
believe
say
they talk
there's
about
a small part that I remember there when he gets that comm from Angle.
Angrel. Mhm.
He kind of puts him on hold, but doesn't really mute it. And then Vrath is back there doing Vrath things, and then he tells him to shut up at one point, and it's like,
I'm still here.
were you talking to me?
Yeah.
It just seemed like a really weird. It's like here you're supposed to have this like Sith overlord, and he's like, Malgus, were you talking to me there, sir?
Yeah.
Come on.
Sounds like a
Paul
hux.
I
wrote
didn't
the beginning of the Last
Hux.
Jedi.
It was kind of funny, but I
didn't
just
take it that way though.
I
It was
did.
more like, "Are you talking to me?"
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the thing with like reading a book. It just sometimes those things translate different for
Oh,
people,
absolutely.
but
Yeah.
I don't know.
You never know the tone of a text.
Yeah.
Amen.
But it was kind of a funny little like awkward scene, and it did remind me of the Last Jedi. the
Yeah,
opening.
that's exactly what
So,
I thought. Hugs.
Hugs?
Yeah.
He does say hugs, right? I mean,
It was in
with
the
an H,
novelization.
he says, yeah, hugs, yeah.
Is Hugs there?
Yeah.
With an H.
So, anyways, yeah. So, I mean, let's just we're down. I mean, Malgus goes down, takes a ship or whatever, and is going down to face or find Aryn Leneer.
Well, doesn't he send his slave woman first?
Elena.
Yeah,
Doesn't
Elena.
he send her first?
Yeah, he sends her
Elena.
down.
Elena.
He sends her down with some troops in order to capture resources and scientists.
Yep.
In order to make sure that they get them. And,
Yeah.
take them from the Republic.
Because that kind of ties into other stuff a little
Oh,
bit.
Yes.
absolutely. He
Yes.
also
In a big way.
makes Vrath go down to Coruscant spaceport. Says that it's under quarantine. You can't leave.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're lucky, I'm not going to blast you out of the skies.
Pray I don't alter the deal any further.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So, Aryn is good. Is the droid T3 or T6? What's
T7.
the T7? You sure?
Yeah, guys,
Pretty sure it's T7.
I don't mess up droids.
Oh, okay, it's T7.
Beep, boop, beep, boop.
If I search this and it's not T7, I'll tell you right now.
Type in T7, see what happens.
I'm going to tell you right now. If it's not T7,
I can already feel a force choke.
Can you feel it coming? T7, Star Wars. The old Republic. It's not. I mean, it's not coming up. I don't see it. I don't see it.
T701.
Force joke me.
Double force choke.
All right, cool. Good job, buddy.
No
Good
problem,
job.
guys. The small
I don't know.
details.
Like he was about to be 0 for 3 there. So I was making sure.
Sometimes the small details can win a ball.
Yeah.
There you go.
So he ends up. He had filmed, I guess, basically the fight, this T7 droid, and so she takes some backwater way underneath, the temple.
Through the works. Was it that? What
It's essentially like the hydraulics and everything that keeps the city floating kind of thing.
Yeah. So she makes her way through there and is able to find him, gets some information on who it is. It's Malgus, etc. And I believe, he just ends up meeting her. He comes down onto the planet, and she works her way back up there. Gets the lightsaber. She gets
T7 he found the lightsaber.
Right,
he
right.
went back to look for survivors and finds the lightsaber.
Yeah.
But him and Zedrid goes out to scout around or something. Was that?
He went to the spaceport in order to try to find a new ship for them to leave.
Well, actually, she goes with him too, doesn't she?
No.
No, he tells her to stay, and then she
And
winds
rest.
up going back to the temple, and that's where she.
But that's what I
first
mean. I mean,
encounters
she goes with him to away from the temple. Because she has to come
Originally, yes.
back to the temple. Yeah,
Right.
So she goes with him, and then they're kind of doing their thing, and then she's alone, I guess, with T7.
Yeah.
And says, senses that Malgus is there, and he's flying around looking at the, temple wherever she goes back, and then Z-Man gets back and figures out, oh shoot, she's gone. Let's get in the ship. Let's go find her. He's this whole time he's trying to convince her, don't do this. This is not who you are.
Yeah.
This is going to destroy you. Don't face him in this way. You're angry. You're going to compromise who you are.
But before he gets back, that he does spot. I still can't remember
Elena,
her name.
or
Elena.
E-
God, why is that not
Alina.
stepping in the mind?
It's not sticking with me either.
But
Alina.
he sees her before, through a window, right?
Yeah, he's like,
Something like that.
he's on the roof and he's just looking in.
Yeah,
and-
but he sees her.
He sees her. He spots her. He's got that intel,
Right.
Because he does give her that intel later. So,
Yes.
but so when she gets back there, Malgus just jumps out. He just he's flying above the thing and tells the pilot leave or do a whatever. Basically leave me. I'm good. I've got this. And he jumps out of the ship, and as he jumps out, he comes crashing down with his lightsaber. He literally comes. Do you remember that part of the book? He's literally just coming right down on her, and it was kind of cool because I'm like. Yeah. Where he jumped down was right over top of her, and he was just coming down. It wasn't like he jumped and they talked, or it was boom, they came right into this fight. So that was kind of cool. And the fight ensues. They're going back and forth. She's pulling on some,
Some may say
Anger.
dark side.
some dark side stuff, and it gets heated.
Well, she's angry. She's empathic, so it's worse.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. But she's holding her own. She's doing well,
Yeah.
actually. Doing pretty well. But I kind of worried. She watched the tape, and she could actually see Zalo getting baited in to the final strike. And so I was like, oh, she's going to see that coming, and she's going to put a couple moves on Malgus or whatever. And she kind of did. She held her own until Z-Man comes, crashing back in to the fight.
Convinces her to leave, saying, you promised that you were going to help me get back to my daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he really is using
Leave the
that.
Sith Lord there. That's fine.
Yeah. He's using that to kind of make sure that,
Cheap shot.
yeah.
Well, it's because he knows her. They
Right.
became friends and realizes that this would destroy her.
Yeah.
Good call, Tom.
Yeah, so he gives her that intel though that I don't know when he gave that to her. Yeah, it was right there in the midst of right after the fight because she basically uses it against Malgus and says, "I'm going to hurt you in the way that you hurt me."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So a lover.
Yeah.
I think that confirms that relationship then, right?
You
Brother
could make that.
Or father, daughter, or
I didn't get that. I didn't get that.
I don't
I
know.
don't know, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, so they end up going back to the hangar there where the scientists are and things, and she. Long story short, here she captures
Elena.
yeah, and
They have
basically
a little conversation.
yeah, and she learns that this is not her fault. This would not be a good thing to do. Even Master Zalo, I think, is kind of presenting himself to her, and remember she had she could almost sense that he was saying something, but she couldn't quite understand it. Do you guys remember that? Like the Force ghost kind of thing was going on, and then she really seemed to get it at the end that this was not the way. It was kind of like him calling back to her. I can't remember exactly how it went down, but do you remember that part?
Sort of. I mean,
I just
she
remember-
still kind of uses her.
She does.
Oh yeah.
But she sensed
Just
the
doesn't
sadness in her. It wasn't even like I'm scared of you right now. I'm sad that
Yeah.
my
Well,
lover is.
I mean, she has her there and she hits her in the head or whatever, but then she leaves
does.
her
Yeah.
right there just to kind of say, I mean,
Yeah.
she uses her in the sense that it allows.
It baits Malgus.
It does.
Yeah,
was a
it
It baits Malgus, but it also the reason she used her is so that Z-Man could get off the planet.
Yeah.
So that Z-Man would be allowed to leave, and he's on there. He's on a ship. He leaves her and says, "Don't do this." He sees her, attacking the Twi'lek slave, and kind of says, "This is not who you are." And finally, he just says, "I have to go. I have to get on the ship. I got to do my thing. Take care of myself and my daughter," and leaves her there. He thought she was going to kill that girl.
Oh yeah,
He thought that, and she doesn't. She actually, uses it to allow Z-Man to get out because Malgus is speaking to, I can't remember his the commander of their ship, and says there's a vessel headed your way. It has our permission to leave, and boom, it goes, and then the fight ensues, and it's not very long, and Malgus ends up overcoming Aryn.
He gets the upper hand.
He does, and beats her to the point where he could have killed her, and decides not to. So, the end.
That was that's
Well,
it.
No, I'm just kidding.
not really.
Guys,
We
come
got some
on.
farmers and shit. but-
We do.
Oh wow.
That's
the beer.
That's fine. Beep. No, it's fine.
No, but I mean, he spares her life as kind of like, and again, his weird sense of honor kicks in where he's like, "You didn't kill her. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. I will not kill you
This
right
time."
at this very second.
Yeah, yeah.
But I will eventually."
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if I ever see you
Yeah,
again, I will
right.
kill you.
Yeah.
So yeah, he lets her go, and I mean, that's he then has this moment. Malgus has this moment with his slave where he's relieved to see that she's alive. They have this real kind of romantic, passionate moment, and then he knows what he has to do. So he takes her, he embraces her, he's holding her. Let your imagination
Ruin
run
lips.
wild.
Oh.
Actually, I was reading something the other day where in Star Wars, the equivalent of Mike, just put your hand up here for a second. Put your hand up here.
All right, like that.
Just just like we're Rey and Kylo and we're touching.
Oh, are you talking about Raylo?
Right. We're so the
It's like an orgasm or
when you
something.
see that in
Yeah.
Star Wars, that's the equivalent of a kiss. Okay. All right. So that's the equivalent of a kiss. When you see Han,
So much
hold on,
kissing.
Raylo podcast.
Hold on. I saw someone at Star Wars talking about this, and then essentially when you saw Han and Leia, actually kiss, that was the equivalent of sex, having intercourse.
Wow. Oh, jeez.
It's sort of that G.
jeez.
Whoa! It's a
That's-
G-rated.
That's how Ben Solo. We watched Ben Solo be conceived in Episode 5.
Well, they kissed again in 6. So they kissed again in 6.
Wow.
5 was a
So-
false
I don't-
start. 6 was
So
ready to
Ray could be from Episode 6.
Well, hey, no, come on.
No,
What's wrong?
So are you just telling me that we just made out on Rebel Watch?
I mean, actually,
I thought we were supposed to keep that stuff off camera.
I guess we did. I guess we did.
We just lost like 10 subscribers.
We did. We really did. I'm sorry.
Dark side.
I
of the
thought I
Rebel
heard that. I
Watch
thought it was
community.
really.
Hello.
I thought it was really interesting. So
Interesting. I did not know that.
Well, here's another one. Rebels. Hera and Kanan kiss, and then we never saw
Never.
this is why this came up.
Oh,
you never
okay.
saw
That
any
makes
like.
sense.
Well, how did they have a son? If they,
Yeah.
when was there ever a romantic passion? That was it. That's
Wow.
in Star Wars. That's their sign that here
Interesting.
stuff went down. So what, Tom?
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just-
interesting.
Okay. All right. Enough of that. Enough of that crap.
Anyway, so back to the action here.
He kills Elena.
He does.
Whatever her name is.
Well, it's because he sensed that she was going to be his downfall, and that as long as she was around, he couldn't connect to the Force.
It's a weakness.
Yeah. And he wants more conflict and realizes that's what the Sith need, and so he's going to go create it. And to do that, to do what he needs, basically he was going to have, all he needs is the Force. He needs to cut this out, and no one else can harm her. It has to be him, And it's kind of I don't know, hate to say, what's the word? Not cool. It's like a.
Was it cool, bro?
It was interesting.
It was interesting.
Oh,
Okay.
man, everything's interesting.
Interesting.
Hey, man. I mean,
Dilly.
Anakin did it.
Dilly. Okay. At this point, So yeah, there's that bit, and that's kind of how the book sort of ends, and then you get into this epilogue, which is where we kind of get everything.
Happy ending.
Yeah, the happy ending.
Couple
Z-Man.
moisture farmers.
Yeah, Z-Man's on.
No.
Well,
Vineyard.
Real farmers.
Vineyard. It was a vineyard.
Yeah.
I want to just go back for a second.
Oh, I was in the epilogue. Tom's going back out of it. What do we
Going
got?
to the prologue.
Going back to the prologue. We're
Okay,
starting
perfect.
it back over.
Okay.
Now, the Wrath Z-Man.
Oh yeah.
Fight.
That's big.
It's not much of a fight.
Let's be honest.
You know, the shuttle he ends up getting on is Wrath's. They end up fighting. But what it is it shows, I think, what needs to happen, but that Aryn can't do with Malgus, you know. So it's, and he even says that it's like, internal. I don't want to kill you. I have to in order to save myself and save them, and it shows. I think
It's a difference.
the reason why there was the parallel of
Structure.
of everything is in order to show the outcome of both.
Yep, that's a good point, actually.
And so that was the whole point of Wrath.
Yeah, it was, because you're right. You know, it's Malgus is sparing Aryn Leneer. Aryn Leneer spared his slave because she didn't need to kill that slave. It wouldn't have done anything. It doesn't serve any. It's just it's not right. Okay, but then Z-Man is faced with a tough decision, which is that this guy Varath knows the identity of his homeworld, his family, all this stuff, has not given that to the exchange yet. And so if the information is contained here, you're gone. You're done. And so he ends up killing him, and he has to struggle with that. It's something he struggles with for a long time. And he's relieved in the epilogue when he's on Dantooine, and he's a farmer, and he's always kind of worried about what may happen, the exchange coming and showing up and things. But it's Aryn Leneer. She actually went looking for him and couldn't find him, and then remembered, well, you know, I don't know how long the epilogue was afterwards, but that he was going to go to Dantooine and be a farmer. And so, you know, she ends up seeing him, and I think they kiss again.
Hello.
So,
And the little girl gets her prosthetic legs.
God
yeah.
bless her.
He gets to play grav ball just like she always wanted
Grav
to.
ball.
right. It was good. It was great. It was actually great.
No, it was a happy little ending.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Now let's talk about the good
I
ending.
changed my
Good
hair.
ending. Yeah. Yeah, the best part was that Malgus is like sneaking into I don't know if he's back on Droman Koss or not.
No, it's one of the worlds that they took over in the negotiations.
Yeah.
And a grass. Adras.
We'll get these names right.
Been said 10 times, Tom.
We still can't say the slave girl's name though.
So Lord Adras has kind of set up like a little retreat.
Yeah.
And Malgus is talking about what kind of a wimp he is and that,
Hear.
all that stuff. And
It's awesome.
Let's go.
Yeah.
awesome.
He basically calls him out and says, I mean, I don't want to use bad language on the show, but
I'm gonna use it.
you know, you're a little, you know, and kind of, and
I
then
killed my
calls
lover.
him out.
Yeah.
You know?
And I
I've
love
been hiding my power from you.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Yeah.
well.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You have hidden nothing.
Nothing.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And they go after it, and it's like, I mean, this guy, he starts off with some swagger, some confidence. He gives him like the lightning bolt, you know, the force lightning, and it's like nothing. He's able, like Malgus takes it, you know, in stride and kind of, you know, is able to handle it, and then what else you got? You know, and he was able to kind of charge up again and kind of go after him a few times, but Malgus handles him pretty easily.
Yeah.
actually.
Super easy. I mean, it was toyed with him.
Toyed with him in the end. Yeah. So
And I also like the part where Adras is like, well, Angrel is going to know and get you, and Malgus is like, nope. You know,
Yeah.
by the time he figures out it's me,
yeah.
I'm going to have killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was cool, and he actually chooses to use his hands to kill Adras versus like he doesn't even force choke him. He actually chokes him physically. Do you
Yes,
remember
in
that part?
the end.
And it was almost like because he believed in like force users being killed by the force or by a lightsaber or something like that. And it was almost like it was a bad way for this guy to go, sort of. You know what I mean?
I took it more as he was still holding. Well, I mean, he's carrying the Alina.
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 Guys, daggone it.
See, it's not just me.
Alina. Alina's
Let's all say this
death
3
on his
times.
shoulder.
Alina. Yeah.
And he was choking it out of him, the
Yeah.
hatred over having to kill her. And
Yeah.
he blamed him.
That's true. That's true. But he could have forced, and he was forced choking him. But then he
It's like,
switches.
no, I need to do this.
This
Yeah.
personally, yeah. And I thought it was also kind of a slap in the face that, like, one, it was more personal, like you said, and then two, it was that you don't deserve to that kind of death. I'm going to give you sort of like a more of a mundane, just I don't know.
you're so weak. I don't.
Exactly.
I don't. That's right. You go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Exactly. So,
Guys, get that out of your system.
yeah, I think.
It almost sounded like you enjoyed the book.
Wow.
Just just the beginning and
and really just the epilogue. So,
chapter 2 and the epilogue.
Amen.
right. Amen.
Amen.
So,
That wasn't a horrible book. It's just one of those ones that
I think it's when you compare it to
I probably
Revan.
would read it again.
no, but when you compare it to Revan, it's sort of like
no.
I'll
We-
watch
we-
the
we-
cinematic thing.
Well,
absolutely.
that's different.
Or give me that on the big screen. Give me the creators of Game of Thrones doing the Old Republic. I want it. I want it. With the politics, the
I think
Sith
they-
on Jedi. Let's do it.
very well. I think they might do that.
They should.
I actually think
They
that's
need
exactly
to.
what
Maybe a
those
good
guys
idea.
are going to do.
It gets
So.
me excited. If we're excited and 4 Legends books about it, man, a movie,
I know.
2.5 hour movie. Let's
Well,
go.
Yeah, I mean, like me and Ez have read a lot more Legends. You
Yeah.
too, right?
Oh, Tom's
I've
ready.
done
Yeah,
my share.
Tom's done his share.
Oh,
So, yeah.
dabbled in it a little bit.
He is dabbling in those dark arts.
There's so much Legends material.
Yeah.
And I mean, the stories that were told back when we were kids reading those.
Oh, man.
I love those stories.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. There's actually I listen to a podcast, Rebel Force Radio, and I love these guys. There are different types of fans who there's so much in Star Wars that they're really just fans of the films and the TV series and stuff like that, and that's fine. That in itself has a lot in it, And then you get into Jimmy Mack always kind of dogging the literature Star Wars and
Nerds.
sounds like a literature thing and it's like the nerds of the nerds. It's like but I don't know. There's different pieces and parts to it. Some people it gets kind of far fetched when you get to like Fate of the Jedi and stuff that it's almost where people are like that wasn't even real. Was that even really canon? Because it's so far
Well, there are
out
different
there.
levels of canon. Don't forget.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
That's what I know.
10 different levels
Yeah.
of canon.
I can understand where it's just the movies.
Yeah.
You're at that level.
Yeah.
Or, it's just these main characters. You start talking about this and that, and it's just, that's junk.
Yeah.
And you got to realize a lot of people have lives.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
so there's just different levels of what all do you consider. I think it's why they had to kind of take Legends and, hey, buddy, I'm trying to run a podcast here, okay? Why don't you turn down your,
Easy.
Out there with the cop, boys.
Yeah.
was there a cop?
Yeah,
Get
there
him.
was.
That's good.
Sheriff's getting them.
Sweet.
Good. Sorry, it was kind of hot in here, so we left the door open.
Yeah.
So,
All that time.
but I don't know the Legends. It just kind of. We talked at Celebration to a bunch of people who were kind of put out that they had
Yes.
that they had done away with Legends, but it makes sense to me why they did it. I mean,
have to.
you kind of have to. You had to, unless you were going to just. What were you going to do with all the books that happened in post Episode 6? You know what I mean?
But then you keep those people in by picking and choosing some of the best parts.
That's
of
right.
That Legends
That's exactly
material.
right.
They've
And
done
that's-
a decent job.
They
of
have
that,
done
I
a good
think,
job, and that's why it's important. I think for
bring the Old
us
Republic
to
back.
read these. So.
I don't have a problem with them redoing the new Jedi Order. I mean, that's essentially what
Yeah.
they're doing.
That's
Because there was
absolutely.
there was
Yeah.
a lot of it I didn't really like. I mean, I own and read
Oh, yeah.
a lot of those,
Yeah.
but I think they need to really focus on the old Republic. because
They do
there's
too.
Yeah, they
so
do.
much they can do.
Yeah,
Through
they do.
millennia.
Yeah,
of
there's
characters.
yeah.
Because it feels like that Skywalker story is
Well, let's-
quickly coming to an end. I don't know. It
Well,
feels quick.
if they're going to do the 9-film Skywalker story saga and cap it there, which I don't think they are actually. I think they've changed course on that. That was
I
George
mean-
Lucas's original vision was to kind of say
George Lucas, it was the story of Anakin.
the story of Anakin.
Amen.
Yeah. And Anakin's grandchildren were what was going to be the big play here in 7, 8, and 9, and we do have his grandson.
We do.
We do. But I think that will be over after 9, and I think they need to, until they figure out what they want to do, you have plenty of stuff that you can go back to and give some cool stuff with. They're doing the Star Wars stories, but then you could go back to this Old Republic piece. I think it's all they need to
Television
do.
series coming
For-
out.
and then take your time and get some separation from the main saga.
Absolutely.
Go to this for a little while, and then let's see where we're at in a couple years.
Show people why they should care if they not reboot the saga series, but not make it a Skywalker story. We can do other things other than this family drama. So
I mean, I'm
I
a little
love
bit
the
more of
family drama.
traditional here, Mike.
yeah, man, give me the family
Right,
drama.
man.
I love it.
I think as long as you don't mess up what's going on in 4, 5, 6, you're all right.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you
mean,
can't have the
you-
continuity issues and things. But,
You can, and it would be really easy in order to oversaturate
Yeah.
and dilute and all those other big words that
Yeah,
that's
we
fair,
can't
Tom.
spell.
Right.
But
I blacked
yeah,
out.
it's just, you need to keep the core of what started it.
God, I
Yeah.
need to pick Tom's brain about
I
The
know.
Last Jedi.
You
'cause
do.
I still have it yet.
you do. You
I
do.
know folks.
You do.
Folks
talked
viewpoint
about
on it, but Tom's.
Let's
Little Trojan
he'll
horse
go
there
he'll
or
go on
something.
for.
I don't know.
We'll turn this off and then we'll get right back on with him. How about that?
I love getting back on.
That's what she said.
I
I got that one. I'm
Honestly,
normally a
you
little
nailed
slow
it.
on the
You
uptake.
nailed it. We'll put a little,
That's also
snare hi-hat.
what she said.
The master.
I've learned from the master. So has folks. We'll get Tom caught up soon.
Oh, you will learn.
Who you
That one
will.
doesn't work so well, but yeah. The
we
Bud
should've-
Light's starting to kick in.
It is.
Amen.
Dilly, little last dilly before we
Dilly,
go.
dilly.
Dilly.
What's the next book, gentlemen? I mean, I feel like we can drag this on for hours. What is the next book?
Why did you do that to me so quick? Give me that Pablo Hidalgo thing right there next to you.
on a sec.
You guys- you have the list? You have the list, Tom? I sent you the list, I think. So we would like you guys to kind of join in with us and read, basically kind of just join the discussion, send us questions. We can even do some follow-up stuff, actually. So I wanted to do Deceived, and then I've got next. We're skipping Red Harvest. That is not even. Fatal Alliance.
According
Fatal
to your,
Alliance.
Yeah.
email you sent me, it's Fatal Alliance.
That looks dark.
Yeah, Fatal Alliance will be the next book that we're going to read, and we're going to all ourselves going to go look at some of the cutscenes from the Old Republic game and kind of fill ourselves in a little bit. And I actually found a nice little old
Come on.
The Essential Chronology, which just kind of goes over some of its legends, just so we know.
The new
2009,
Essential? Not so new.
2009, I think, or something. Kind of go over the timeline a little bit just to refresh ourselves, figure out where we're at, and kind of go from there. So, new thing. Mike and I are starting kind of a little. Probably we're trying to get this out to you every Tuesday. Going to get back to a nice little pilot, title show, the main show,
flagship.
the flagship.
Of Rebel
There you
Watch.
go. That's what I was looking
You
for.
know what I'm saying?
And with that, we've got I've revamped our Twitter, so check us out at RW2187. That's just going to be the podcast. That's our Twitter. We'll start using that more. I think I'm just not good at Twitter, and I'm just forcing myself to use it now.
Well,
so
you got to get rid of that flip phone first.
I got rid of
and then
we'll talk. And also, you can check I've revamped my own personal Twitter, which I'll be kind of posing some questions for us. I think there
Maybe
and
some homemades on there.
yeah, some maybe
some above the knee. You know?
action. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And you can follow me at Womprat_2M for
Yeah,
two.
I haven't created a Twitter. To
Mike's-
be honest,
I'm
I
gonna
don't know if
force
I
him.
have enough to say.
I'm going to force him.
It
I
might
have
just be a
one.
period every day.
use it.
Amen.
Well,
Hashtag.
hashtag double
It's,
hashtag.
it's not that. It's number sign.
Hashtag number sign. That would probably be all I could say.
That's
on
all you
Twitter,
got. But anyways, follow me on there because I'll be asking questions. And in our new segment, we're going to have like a Council of Elders, the HoloNet, and then we'll have sort of like our top 3, just questions, things that we're thinking about throughout the week. And if you guys respond to those and give us some answers, we'll read them on the podcast and kind of go from there. So.
You will be a huge part of the podcast if you
Sort of
submit those
goal.
questions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, all right, guys. Thanks so much. Fogel, Thomas, appreciate you guys being here.
One last joke.
And he's out. He's out. He's out
I
of the
am
podcast.
strong with the dark side.
Oh, I'm worried. I'm really worried now. All right, guys. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Taking a beer.
Dilly dilly.
Dilly.
Canterbury.
Were we supposed to read
Dilly
a book?
dilly.
Were we supposed to?
Dilly dilly.
Ez. Dilly dilly.
I mean, can I get? Oh, slam on.
Feel it?
Yeah, I feel it. You feeling it?
Oh, yeah.
Should we just get into it?
Not yet, but we will be.
Amen. Ryan, guys.
Oh, I wish.
Delicious.
I wish.
I think the council just left.
What?
You're going to see a no table there and a click, 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 click.
Get a little dun action in here.
Oh.
Done.
Shaking
I'm
him
normally
off.
not the guy shaking everyone. Oh,
Well, that sounded
shit.
sexual.
Wow, it did.
I'm
I'm normally not the guy, but can be.